Namaskar. Welcome to Prakash on Basics. I'm Prakash Zog. Jinn is the one who has conquered all defects, all bindings, all shortcomings that humans have. And this victory is by the virtue of acquiring what is known as Kevala Jnana, total, complete, true knowledge. The religion started by the Jinn is known as the Jain Dharma or Jainism. This is one of the oldest religions in India, and now its followers are spread worldwide. The religion is based on the teachings of 24 of such intelligent people. They are referred to as 24 Teerthankar. Actually, the last two, that is Parshvanath and Vardhaman Mahavir, are the ones who have brought this religion to the forefront. The Jain tradition believes that the religion was even more old than these two. There are references to Rishabdev, the first Tirthankar, in the Rigveda also. And some of the Puranas, the Bhagavad Puran, the Vishnu Puran, etc., also have references to Ajitnath, Arishtanemi, which are among the other few of the known Tirthankars. The original meaning of the word Tirthankar comes from the word Tirtha. Tirtha is an auspicious place according to people now, but the original meaning is a crossing point, usually a crossing point of a river or a port. By all Indian religions, life is said to be Bhavasagar, a sea of reality of all happenings around us, all the cycles of life that people have. So, a Tirthankar is the one who facilitates the successful crossing of this sea, the Bhavasagar, who provides the means for crossover. And these 24 Tirthankars are from this particular yuga or this particular time scale. Rishabhanath or Rishabhadev, Ajitanath, Sambhava, Abhinandan, Sumatinath, Padmaprabha, Suparshva, Chandraprabha, Pushpadanta, Sheetalanath, Shreyan, Vasupujya, Vimalanath, Anantanath, Dharmanath, Shantinath, Kunthunath, Ara, Mallinath, Muni Suvarat, Naminath, Neminath, Parshvanath, and Vardhaman. These are the 24 of them. Many of them have a suffix nath, but this word nath is different from the nath sect in Hinduism. That I'm going to come to much later. Uh, this nath here means the master. In that sense, it is used. Rishabdev or Rishabhanath is the first of these Tirthankars, the originator of Jainism. And so he is also known as Adinath. The word Adi means first. Rishabdev was the son of Nabhi and Marudevi, the king and queen of Ayodhya. He is said to be from the Ishwaku dynasty, while some of the Jain texts say that the word Ishwaku itself is the word that is used for Rishabdev. Many Indians know about the Ishwaku clan because Ram is said to be from the Ishwaku Vansha or the Ishwaku clan. Rishabdev, according to Jains, is the source of all knowledge. All skills that the humans have, all the crafts that they have learned, have been taught to them by Rishabdev. And he is the one then who has propagated the society in general. Rishabdev is said to be the father of Bharata, the first Chakravarti Samrat or the unquestioned emperor of India. The same name has been modified into Bharat, the name of our country. His second son is Bahubali, Gomateshwar, the very popular statue, the biggest monolith in the world um, at Shravan Belgaon in South India. All these various Teerthankars had their own symbols, and Rishabhnath has a symbol which is known as the bull. The word Rishabh itself means the bull. There are some other stories about Rishabdev, but they are more a part of a myth, so I'm not going to go into them. Related to his height and the number of years that he survived and so forth. There is also some information about the other Tirthankars in many of the Jain texts, but we need to talk of the last two, the 23rd and the 24th of them. Parshvanath is the 23rd Tirthankar. He is a historical figure and he is said to be the provider of all desires in the Kali Yuga, and that is a word Kali Kalpataru. Jainism was dormant prior to Parshvanath. It was brought to limelight and expanded during the time of Parshvanath. So he is one of the two major contributors to Jainism, revivers of Jainism. The 24th Tirthankar, that is Mahavir, is a known historical figure with dates, and he is from the uh, period of 599 or 540 BC, and Parshvanath is said to be 273 years before him. That puts him around 872 BC, and that's the period of the Mahajanapadas, or the time when a lot of major kingdoms started developing in India. It's a time of revival and development in India. And he survived and lived for a span of 100 years. So he must have influenced lot of people during that span. Parshvanath was also from the Ishwaku dynasty. His father was King Ashwasen of Banaras, and his mother was Prabhavati. She is also referred to as Queen Maya Devi at some places. Uh, as typical of many of these sages, he renounced home at the age of around 30. And for 83 days, he did strict meditation. On the 84th day, he is said to have obtained Kevala Jnana, total ultimate true knowledge. There was torrential rain prior to this 84th day, and a multiple hooded serpent known as Dharnendra held a canopy on his head. Dharnendra and his wife shielded and protected him from the nature. And so they are also revered in Jain tradition. Also, the symbol used by Parshvanath is of the hooded snake over his head. Parshvanath obtained his Kaivalya at Ahitshatra, which is a place in Uttar Pradesh. He survived up to 100, which means that he had time to preach for around 70 years, and that's a big time span. The Sangha, or the cadre of disciples, was divided into 8 ganas, 8 or 10 according to some of the scriptures, and their heads were known as Ganadharas. Aryadatta was the chief Ganadhar after Parshvanath. And what about the number of disciples? Parshvanath is said to have 164,000 male disciples and 327,000 female followers. That puts the figure around 500,000, 800 BC. At that time, this is a very big number. And there were 16,000 Shramana or full time monks that were there to preach his ideas. His teachings are known as Chaturyam Mata. Mata is an opinion. Chaturyam, that yam is associated with the yama concept that is used by Patanjali in his Yoga Sutra. Yam, Niyam, Asan, and so forth. These yamas are ahimsa, non-violence, satya, truth, asteya, non-stealing, and aparigraha, non-coveting of things belonging to others. He used only four of them and not the fifth, which is brahmacharya. So his opinion was said to be fourfold. He lived and preached all his opinions and finally achieved nirvana or moksha on a hill known as the Sammedha Parvat at a ripe age of 100, which at that time was a very long life to live and preach. 273 years after Parshvanath came Mahavir. Mahavir is the title given to him. His real name was Vardhaman. He is also among the ones who has really brought a religion to forefront. Many new religions and ideas were being put forward in India during that period. I have talked of two of them prior to this, the Shramana concepts and the Ajivaks. But for a religion to survive and thrive, you need many more things also. You need authority, you need leadership, you need organization skills, and you need sufficient time to preach. Vardhaman Mahavir had all these. He was a prince, as I will point out, and he was a Kevali. That means he had already achieved that ultimate knowledge status. Both he and Gautam Buddha had all these qualities, and so their religions are the ones that really survived in the period from around 600 BC right up to date. Vardhaman's period is, as I said, 599 BC, or some of them put it down to 540 BC to about 468 BC. Let's keep the dates aside. Now, what's more important is the time span or the range when he was present. He was born at a place called Kundagram near Vaishali. His mother was the sister of Chetak, the leader of Lichavis, a very powerful clan. And his father, Siddhartha, was the chief of Gnatruk Kshatriya Sangha, a very powerful clan, and its leadership was with Siddhartha. He also had an elder brother called Nandivardhan. He was married to Yashoda, a Kalinga princess, and had a daughter named Priyadarshana. His son in law's name was Jamali. You can see from all these that Vardhaman was very well connected with royal families. So his social standing was pretty high. Again, at the age of around 30, he got Vairagya, felt that he should give up everything. He renounced everything and took uh, to moving out of home. He took the consent of his brother because his parents were no longer there. And he left home, traveled around for around 12 years, took up very strict and rigorous penance during this span. It is during this that he met Goshal, the one I talked of last time, who set up the Ajivaka sect. Um, he also became a wandering monk and gave up clothes, which was one of the aspects that binds a human being to societies. After around 12 years, he achieved Kaivalya, that is ultimate knowledge again. This was in a village called Jambhik Gram under a sal tree near a river called Rujupalika. So all these places have become uh, points of pilgrimage for the Jains. Uh, there are many adjectives that were used to describe him, and they became his names too. Jina, the one who has conquered all emotions. Jinendra, the lord of all Jinn. Nirgrantha, the one who has broken away all the bindings. Arhata, the one who has achieved everything that is required. Mahavir, the one who has conquered not only the world outside, but the world within him also, himself. He became a Teerthankar and established a Sangha again, the religious order of not just monks, but lay followers also. Shramana were again the full time monks that followed him, and Sthavara were the family men who appreciated his teachings and followed his concepts. Being a prince himself, he realized that only having Shramana would not give a stable social structure or a firm footing to his religion. Involvement of the common man was needed. And so there were a lot of other followers too. His first sermon was at Rajgir, correctly speaking, Rajgruha. And his first disciple was his own son in law, Jamali. The reasons as to why he revived Jainism were the same again. Shortcomings that we know of, I have mentioned some time back, uh, as previously discussed. There was dominance of ritualism. Yajnas were becoming very popular. Sacrifices in yajnas was a big issue. Advent of castes and discrimination between people was also a factor that had to be looked into. This was a time that gave rise to many of the Gnostic concepts or those who did not adhere to the Vedic concepts fully. Uh, they were not against Vedas as such, but they did not accept the authority of Vedas. Mahavir too was a Gnostic. He did not believe in God, but he believed in Atma. He believed in rebirths. He believed in the concept of karma and getting a freedom from karma and giving up the cycle of rebirths is what was the final aim for moksha or salvation. He also accepted the teachings and authority of the previous 23 Tirthankars before him. In the later period, of course, the Tirthankars were worshipped like normal gods, and we now have dedicated temples to them. Many of them, their sites and locations are also sites of Jain temples. The Sangha that he established had was slightly bigger and so had 11 Ganadhars or heads. Sudharman was the one who survived after him and took over the headship of all these various Ganas. Uh, he passed away at an age of around 72 in Pavapuri, which is near Rajgir again. Uh, the credit of the spread of Jainism must be given finally to Mahavir, Vardhaman Mahavir, Jinendra, Arhata, as he is known. His symbol was a lion, like the many other symbols that I talked of, Rushabha and the serpent hood and so forth. Um, there were many ideas that he put forward, many of the new concepts that he introduced, many strict rules that he put forward. And they are a part and parcel of the concepts of and philosophies of the religion of Jainism. That is what we will look into next time. Till we meet again, please tell your friends about this channel. Please tell them that you know about the Tirthankars now and that we will be looking into many of the newer ideas that were put forward by Mahavir for his time then. Till that time, namaskar.